With Howard turning down the MEAC, the Colonial has added the Campbell Fighting Camels as number 14. Campbell University is located in Bowie's Creek, North Carolina, with a 3,000 population, 28 miles south of Raleigh. It was founded in 1887 by a 26-year-old Baptist minister. The campus was rebuilt after a suspicious fire in 1900. It's a private school affiliated with the Baptist State Convention of North Carolina. It has a 5,600 enrollment, a $170 million endowment, and it's ranked 277 by U.S. News. The Fighting Camels revived football in 2008 after a 58-year absence when they disbanded in 1950 due to the onset of the Korean War. Scholarship football started in 2018. They had been non-scholarship for 10 years prior. They sold out the 2016 and 2017 seasons. Barker Lane Stadium was ranked the number 3 FCS game day atmosphere by Stadium Journey in 2018. The same year they opened a brand new football stadium in 2008. They opened a new basketball arena for $34 million. The Camels have been to one NCAA tournament in 1992, and they have a winning season in 5 of the past 6 years. Campbell was a co-founder of the Big South. Augusta and Baptist College, which is today Charleston Southern, started the process, and they recruited Campbell, Coastal Carolina, and Winthrop to get up to 5. And then Armstrong, Radford, and Columbus College, which is today Columbus State, committed shortly after to give them 8. And then UNC Asheville followed to give them 9. Although Columbus College would withdraw before the first season. In 1994, Campbell would switch from the Big South to what was then called the Transamerica Athletic Conference due to the Big South Sunday play policy. Then in 2011, Campbell would switch back from the Atlantic Sun to the Big South, and now they will be moving to the Colonial in 2023. When North Carolina A&T was going through the process of moving to the CAA, at their Board of Regents meeting, the athletic director had a slide on his presentation that indicated that the CAA would be moving to 2 divisions for most sports in order to contain travel expenses. So in most sports, Campbell will usually be playing William & Mary, Hampton, A&T, Elon, North Carolina Wilmington, and College of Charleston. Here are the institutional profiles of the Colonial. Top row is whether they're public or private. Second row is their enrollment. Third row is their endowment. Fourth row is their ranking by U.S. News. And then the fifth row, I use their combined statistical area, CSA, as Bowie's Creek does not belong to an MSA. It's in a micropolitan statistical area. And of course, Wilmington and Charleston are not in CSA, so instead I use their MSA ranking. And Campbell, being located in the farm town of Bowie's Creek, will be an exception to the predominantly urban and suburban CAA. These are the athletic budgets of the CAA pre-COVID. Campbell's athletic budget would rank right in the middle of the Colonial. The bottom row, and that would be light blue in the graph at the bottom, is their leftover athletic budget after you take away the student aid money. Here are the men's basketball budgets of the Colonial. The top men's basketball budgets are Northeastern, Monmouth, College of Charleston, and North Carolina Wilmington. CAA football will now be moving to 15 schools with the addition of Campbell. Here are the football budgets of the CAA. I ran out of columns, so I put Hampton and A&T in the same column. The bottom row is where their football budget ranks within FCS, and the CAA has 5 of the top 7 FCS budgets with William & Mary, Delaware, Stony Brook, Richmond, and Villanova, as well as 14 of the top 51. And these are the number of appearances followed by the number of national titles at the FCS D1AA level. Delaware, Richmond, Villanova, New Hampshire, and William & Mary have all made double-digit appearances in the playoffs. And Delaware, Richmond, and Villanova have all won a national title. Here is everyone's 3-year rolling attendance average pre-COVID in the top row, and then the bottom row is their stadium capacity. North Carolina A&T and Delaware lead CAA attendance by a lot. And with the move to 15 schools, the CAA will have to come up with a new scheduling matrix. If they go with the 2 plus 6 of 12 format where they play 2 protected rivals and then 6 of the other 12 teams, that would guarantee that every team visits every stadium within 4 years. My proposal would put Albany, Stony Brook, and Monmouth in one pod, and then Maine, New Hampshire, and Rhode Island in another pod. Then I would protect rivalries such as Villanova versus Delaware, Delaware versus William & Mary, and William & Mary versus Richmond. That would leave Towson playing Villanova and Richmond. Then I would protect the HBCU rivalry between Hampton and A&T, and then have A&T play Elon as they're half an hour apart. And by default, that would leave Campbell playing Elon and Hampton. Of course, the counter argument would be to flip Richmond versus Towson and Hampton versus Campbell. So you have Richmond playing Hampton as they're 80 miles apart, and then that would leave Towson playing Campbell by default. But that would screw over longtime member Towson. The Big South is now down to 9 schools: Radford, Longwood, UNC Asheville, Gardner Webb, High Point, Winthrop, the Presbyterian Blue Hose, USC Upstate, Charleston Southern. Football wise, the Big South only has 2 full members playing scholarship football: Gardner Webb and Charleston Southern. Robert Morris and Bryant are football only affiliates of the Big South. And since the Big South has only 4 football members, they have joined up with the OVC for Football Alliance. But if the 4 football Big South schools want an auto bid to themselves, they're going to have to recruit more football schools to give them 6. So one expansion path for the Big South would be to target 3 football schools for 12 full members, and then a football league of 7 with 5 full plus the Robert Morris and Bryant affiliations. They could target the threesome of Norfolk State, North Carolina Central, and South Carolina State. They were successful in the past recruiting Hampton and A&T from the MEAC. However, back then the MEAC stretched to Florida, while the Big South offered bus trips everywhere. Today is a little different as the MEAC is compact now, except for South Carolina State. So the question is, with Howard turning down the CAA for the MEAC, would those 3 also turn down the Big South to remain in the MEAC? They have a 1 in 6 shot of playing in the Celebration Bowl on ABC with 2.5 million viewers, and the participating school gets 600,000. And HBCU alums are far more engaged with attendance and donations when they're playing other HBCUs. South Carolina State might be the most likely to shake loose, as all the MEAC schools, with the exception of North Carolina Central, are a 6+ hour bus trip away. Whereas if South Carolina State were to shift to the Big South, 7 Big South schools are within 212 miles. The other expansion path for the Big South is to recruit a non-football school. Queens of the A-Sun is in their first year of transition. They would provide direct access to Charlotte, and Queens is only within a 5.5 hour bus trip to one A-Sun school. If Queens were to shift over to the Big South, all 9 Big South schools are within 230 miles of Charlotte. Charlotte is a critical alumni and student recruitment epicenter for all Big South schools.